Well, hello interwebs. My name is Mike Ortiz.
I'm David Gansel.
And you're joining us for the very first TauProductions videocast, or as we might call it, TauTalk.
We're all about the cheesy alliteration here.
Yes, cheesy alliteration.
Let's go a little bit into the history of TauProductions. As I recall, it's pretty much you.
Yeah, started in high school, started making a Lord of the Rings card game, and then since then we've gone to making movies, amateur films. Yeah, actually going from that, we finished a feature-length, it's a little over an hour, right?
It's about 65 minutes.
65 minutes. A fantasy comedy last year entitled The Chronicles of Crockland.
You may have seen the trailer on
yeah, if you haven't seen the trailer on YouTube, you should go check it out. The film is complete?
Yeah, if you're wondering why you haven't seen that movie yet, there's a funny story about that. Basically, like all of our productions, we had no idea what we were doing when we went into that.
It always is.
And basically, we had written the script, and which came about because Mike just called me one night and was like, "Dave, we need to do a Lord of the Rings type movie." And I'm like, "Great, can I go back to bed now?" And anyway, then over the next couple of months, we would hang out in his room and watch Scrubs reruns while we procrastinated on writing the script.
Which eventually did get done, though.
Eventually, there was an actual script, and we thought it was funny. Other people thought it was funny. We had a very limited casting crew to the point where...
budget.
And budget, obviously. But to the point where everybody who was behind camera...
was on camera.
Was also on camera. So as a result, we didn't put as much effort as we should have into things like focus and lighting and white balancing.
Yes, if you ever shoot anything, remember white balance.
Especially outdoors.
White balance. Just say it one more time. White balance.
So the film kind of suffered from not really having a DP, and
yeah.
A lot of color correction had to be done, like ridiculous amounts of color correction, which honestly will never be perfect just because we screwed up shooting.
Live and learn.
Anyways, well, the film was a collaboration between TauProductions and Wacky and Crazy Productions, which is the group that I co-founded with 4 other friends back in 1998. Yeah, it's old, and it hasn't really done anything.
And one day we'll be on the internet once he finishes the website.
Yeah, that's another thing. Anyway, one of the other co-founders is my brother, Nick. Nick and I were basically editing the film over the summer, and we had a pretty good rough cut by the time the school year came back around in the fall. But I still wasn't satisfied showing it to people, and I kept tweaking the color and tweaking and tweaking. Finally, by about December, I think December 1st was when we had the premiere.
Really early December.
So it was finally to about November when I had a color corrected version that I was comfortable showing a dozen people, maybe. I thought, okay, I can show this to a small group. I'm not ready to show this to the big, scary internet yet, but I can show this to a small group. So we held the premiere, which ended up being more like 60 or 70 people.
Yeah, most of them we had no idea who they were.
Yeah, they just sort of showed... Well, I mean, we had done advertising, we had done the Facebook event, and we had posted flyers around campus, and, we told the cast and crew, oh yeah, tell your friends to come and stuff. And we showed up, we had gotten there about an hour early or so to set up.
And
to set up
there were already
campus
people
theater.
there that we didn't know.
Yeah, people were there, like,
camping
20 minutes early. People we didn't know were just sort of in the theater waiting for the movie, and I was like, "Are you sure you're here to see our movie?" And
yeah,
this is a goofy Lord of the Rings spoof. I mean, this.
We pretty much spoofed a lot more than Lord of the Rings, though.
Well, but yeah, Lord of the Rings is most predominant, just because that's the most prolific fantasy thing there is.
Anyway,
it's it's an original story with original characters, and it's not just it's not just a hodgepodge of spoofs, but
On to why it's
well.
the delay.
Anyway, point being, we had the premiere. The people who were there seemed to enjoy it, which
It's very
is
good.
a good sign, especially since we have odd senses of humor and we're never quite sure if other people will be online with what we think is funny. And so, there were some gags that fell flat, but overall,
People enjoyed it.
people enjoyed it.
Someone was even offended.
Yeah. Apparently, we had a joke that was so foul that someone got offended, which
Which was surprising because we try to keep our stuff fairly clean.
I don't know. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, we're edgy.
Anyway.
So we had that, and then I still was tweaking it a bunch more, and then something magical happened.
Fantasy movie.
Yes. You see, originally we had just had, just cheap royalty-free tracks, free royalty-free tracks, I guess, but, midis and some classical music in there as the soundtrack, and, it sufficed for the premiere. But then Mark Scales of Backyard Productions out in the UK, he offered to do an original score for us, which was tremendously exciting. For those of you who aren't familiar, Backyard Productions is a comedy film group. They've done they do a lot of spoofs. They've done The Empire Strikes Backyard, Doom Raiders, The Emperor's New Clones. They're all phenomenal movies. Especially, for low-budget amateurs. The Empire Strikes Backyard was the first Star Wars fan film I ever saw, and it's largely responsible for getting me into the mindset of thinking, hey, amateur filmmaking is possible. So you have them to blame for that. Anyway, he's been working on the score. He's a very busy man, so he's got a lot of stuff he's juggling, but the samples he sent us so far have been amazing.
Yeah,
and
really fantastic.
We're really looking forward to hearing the entire soundtrack. Honestly, I'm not sure if the movie's really worthy of the awesomeness that is this music.
No.
But I'm not complaining. So, until the point that comes, I'll probably just still be tweaking the color, even though it'll never be perfect, just because,
Yeah.
I'm the feudal perfectionist. And so that film will be available online eventually, and then for sale on DVD after that.
Yeah.
And the DVD will probably have lots of cool bonus features that we have to make at some point.
Lots and lots of outtakes.
Oh yes, including an entire string of outtakes that's just Chris Putnam off camera making funny faces and causing people to screw up their lines.
Anyway, moving on. We thought it'd be fun for a little bit of this video cast if we did some reviews for kind of like B movies. They're the kind of movies that you see in Blockbuster and you don't really want to spend the money to rent them.
But you just see the title or just the cover art and you're thinking, oh, I have to watch that just because it exists.
Yeah, and you kind of like, if you do rent it, you kind of like tuck it under, something that's real, and you're all like, oh, I'm not renting this movie. And then you go home and watch it and you crack up. So anyway, we decided for our first review that we would do Godzilla Final War. This was set up, the 50th anniversary of Godzilla?
I believe that was, that's the premise behind this, so basically, they just thought, hey, let's have Godzilla refight everyone he's ever fought.
And I do mean everyone.
It takes them an hour into the film to get to that point, but...
Yeah, you really don't see Godzilla for about most of the film.
Instead, you see a green adult version of the baby from Dinosaurs.
It's supposed to be Godzilla Jr., but I was really waiting for it to be like, not the mama, not the mama. And there's these random Asian father and son who are with it who don't do anything.
Yeah, that's a sort of, Mr. Miyagi ripoff with
his little kid.
His little
we watched
grandson.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think they ever said. I don't know.
I remember him yelling at the kid.
Yeah. Granted, we watched the English dub, so, I mean...
I was going to say, I was only paying halfway attention through the movie, so I'm probably not the most qualified reviewer.
But it is still hysterical.
Yeah, that is to say... it is probably the funniest movie I've ever seen in my life.
I don't know if they were trying to make it over the top, or if they just happened to make it over the top.
I think they were going for that sort of, kitchen sink, like 50th anniversary of Godzilla, we'll have a big blowout, we'll cram everything we can into this, and who cares if it's cheesy.
Yeah.
I imagine that was their mentality.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because it's a Japanese movie with a largely Japanese cast, with cute Japanese girls, and an American.
Yeah, the American guy who was played by some pro wrestler or other.
I don't know.
He just had that big, thick mustache.
He has this big, walrus mustache going on.
Well, it wasn't quite like that, but it was prolific.
It was a hefty Russian mustache. He looked just like Captain Global from Robotech or Macross. But the man had just awful dialogue. Dave, you wanna take this one?
Well, okay, did we mention there are aliens in this movie?
No, we haven't yet, actually. But we'll get to those.
Well, anyway, he's squaring off against the aliens who are invading Earth, and it's, leading up to the big, badass final battle, and he's, staring down the aliens, and he's like, there are two things you didn't know about Earth. One of them was me. The other was Godzilla. First of all, the amount of ego it must take to consider yourself one of the two wonders of the world, alongside Godzilla. It's like, yeah, well, being Godzilla, we pretty much run the show on this planet.
Yeah. He had some other really horrible lines.
But he did have a katana.
Yeah, that was the other interesting thing about it. So as I said, he's surrounded by all these Japanese actors and actresses, and they're all running around, shooting their guns, and the only white guy in the movie runs around with a katana. Does anyone else think that's kind of strange?
Stereotypes are fun.
It's just like the sword of Japan is now used by the Westerner. I don't know. I found that very interesting. Oh, and on to the aliens. I don't even know where to begin.
Let's begin with the fact that they were all goth.
Yeah, their sense of fashion. They were all emo goths wearing latex trench coats.
They were trying to
lots of eyeliner.
They were trying to cash in on some Matrix-y type mood, I guess.
Dear God, I'm so glad Neo never dressed like that.
I don't know, I never saw Revolutions.
Otherwise it'd be called the Gaytrix or something. But it's hard to take your villains seriously when A, they dress like that, they dress like a bad bondage club, and B, they're on talk shows and everything, and they're all like, "What's up, Earth? We are like the aliens, mofos!"
Yes, well, if you were invading a planet full of edible beings, obviously the first thing you'd do was scope out their version of Howard Stern and appear on his show.
I definitely think I would dress better, though.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe on their planet, this is a fashion misstep.
Well, this is a fashion misstep pretty much anywhere.
I don't know anything about fashion.
It's okay.
I really don't give a crap.
The one little final tidbit, though, that I'd like to talk about this film is the fact that we mentioned Godzilla fights just about every monster he's ever thought of. Like, if Godzilla was sleeping one night and said, "I want to fight a giant spider," he fights that giant spider.
Was King Kong in the movie?
No. They couldn't get the rights to that.
That was disappointing.
But, okay.
Stupid Peter Jackson.
Godzilla squares off with the American Godzilla. From that, what was it, 2000? Maybe 1999?
98, wasn't it?
98, 99, Matthew Broderick.
The one that had Matthew Broderick and half the cast of The Simpsons in it.
Yeah. And the French guy. Godzilla fights that Godzilla. And it's really interesting because, number one, it's the first monster Godzilla fights in the whole movie. And secondly, all the other monsters are done in typical Japanese...
traditional, they're all rubber suits or they're Harryhausen-esque stop motion.
Yeah. But Zilla, as they call him, because apparently he's not good enough for the god part. He's this kind of cheesy CGI. And
he's a god, he's not the god.
He's not the god. But he is the Godzilla.
I don't own Groundhog Day. I need to get that on DVD. Sorry, you were saying.
Anyway, so yeah, Zilla shows up all like, "Oh, I'm CGI, da, 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 da." And Godzilla just lays the biggest smackdown on him. it was almost like I could see the guy who created Godzilla just angry and venting his rage via this scene because he just punches Zilla like across Sydney and into the Sydney Opera House, and then just totally blue beams him like in the face, and he just blows to pieces. It's probably one of the shortest monster fights in history.
So my question is, when is someone in Japan going to make a new movie where they cast Mustache American Man as Mario and have him beat up Bob Hoskins?
So next week's episode, just a quick heads up, we're going to be doing the Giant Claw. We'll talk a little bit more of that.
Which we were made aware of from the Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yes, it was listed as his #1 favorite monster movie, and we just had to see it. So we'll review that. We'll talk a little bit more of that at the end. Right now, we're going to move on to the main event of this videocast.
Yes, now back to us.
Yes.
And we talked about other cheesy movies, now on to our own cheesy movies.
Of course. We are currently in production of our biggest project ever.
It's the first production we've done that attempts to take itself seriously at all.
Yeah, we're trying to take a more drama approach to this, which is a good experience, I think, because we've shot comical stuff this entire time, and you know, it's good to sort of shift gears every now and again. The script is 77 pages, so it's fairly long. It's an ambitious project.
Yeah, but we've already shot about 15 of them.
Yeah.
Or so.
We've had 3 shoot dates so far.
Well, let's just talk a little bit about the
project itself.
The movie itself. It is a dystopian military suspense horror film.
Yeah. So it's kind of set in a fairly dystopian world.
It's like the sort of not too distant future.
Yeah, so you could throw a little sci-fi in there. It's not too much. Yeah, there's a lot of horror and like suspense elements in it, but it is basically a military drama, which means we had to spend a lot of money on wardrobe and stuff.
Well, such as this.
Oh, yeah, case in point. Yeah, so we have quite a few of those lying around, and you know, all sorts of other stuff. And we get some odd looks when people come into our room and see what looks like a military barracks, kind of.
Helmets hanging around, you know, guns all over the place.
Yeah. So guns are good.
Guns are fun. Yeah, let's talk some more about, you know, the idea behind the project. It's sort of, themes are sort of similar to the original V for Vendetta graphic novel in a way, in that this, not to the same extreme, but just in the sense of the idea behind contrasting anarchy with the fascism.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Now we're talking the graphic novel. We're not talking the actual film. Not that there's anything wrong with the film. I enjoyed it greatly, but there are quite a few differences between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sort of set up a stage in which the government is this evil, overbearing, lying, you know, superpower that you really can't fight against, otherwise you'll just disappear. And the people who oppose the government are these sick, twisted, maniacal terrorists, basically. And you have kind of like the common man stuck in the middle, and, you know, they have to decide. Thank you. They sort of have to decide, you know, what is the lesser of two evils? Or is there another way? So, it's basically a big overarching theme of the film.
Plus there's blood and stuff.
Lots of blood. Lots of blood. Yes, when we said drama, we meant blood.
Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of comic relief in the film, just because that's...
Comedy's wonderful. You gotta have love comedy.
But it's a lot more serious in tone than anything else we've done.
Yeah, and actually, getting onto that, because it's serious, more serious in tone, and because we're trying to be a lot more professional with this, we actually have a director of photography, which is
something Crockland could have benefited greatly from.
Oh yes, definitely, and he's a little bundle of energy, but he's fantastic.
Yes.
So we love you, Brad. Thank you very much. The first part of this video cast for the behind the scenes is you're going to see the very first script reading we had. This was the first time most of the cast really kind of came together and met each other. Some had some experiences with others, but for the most part, most people really didn't know each other that well.
Yeah, I mean, there were the people we had worked with before all knew each other, obviously, but there were so many new additions, and it would be like, few people knew each other, but it's, I'm being really redundant here.
It's okay. We still love you.
It's late. I'm tired.
So anyway, you're going to see some of that footage heavily edited so that you don't fall asleep.
And so that you don't get spoilers.
Yeah.
And so that my voice doesn't crack.
As it is, it's not the most terribly interesting footage. There's a lot more exciting stuff out there, but we have to start from the beginning.
And really, we're just still amazed at the fact that we actually had a script reading, so...
Yeah.
We're feeling like real filmmakers.
So right now we're gonna turn over to that. So. Okay.
Oh yeah, everybody go around and introduce themselves.
Sweet.
I'm Jen.
And who are you playing?
I'm playing Amber, the Velveteen Rabbit.
Alright, I'm Kat. And how do you do with the character's name?
It's Carrie.
Carrie, okay.
I'm Brad. I'm playing King Leonidas. That's what we're doing, right?
No, you're Callahan.
Callahan.
Oh, I'm Brad. I'm Hunter.
I'm Steve. I'm Young.
I'm Cody. I'm Gita.
John coming in talking to his agent.
Holding a tripod.
John Stutzman, consummate professional.
I'm talking to my brother. I'm going to be in a movie tomorrow.
What movie?
I was right.
And who do you play in this movie?
Football player from 1943.
No, I mean in Incubus.
I'm Sinmar, the killer.
Well,
You look like a killer.
What movie?
What movie are you gonna be in?
Like a real movie.
It's like a documentary movie.
Oh, but
So, Nate, could you hold on a second? About,
It's a documentary and you're acting?
I'm so confused here. What's going on?
Hi.
Stop confusing us and get out.
Right.
I love you, Stutzman. You're a sexy man.
Have fun.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask right now who hasn't read the script yet. Cody? Is that it? Is that the only person? Good. Second.
Okay, now seriously, who hasn't read the script?
No, I
haven't read it seriously.
Okay, next thing. Every single male in this room, because I'm assuming the ladies are excluded, you need to choose your facial hair right now, because that's the way it's going to stick to the entire movie.
Wait, when's the last date we're filming?
So we can have facial hair?
We're going to probably shoot until finals.
Just pick a length that
Okay, so
after
okay, no, it's
and
fine.
it's
I'll
not
just
sure
do
you're
it.
gonna do
I'm gonna have to do this facial hair because I can't do anything.
That's amen to that. Are you getting a haircut or not?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it cut because then I'll look more like a Marine.
Okay.
Stoic Marine.
Glad to see you have such respect for the church, Hunter.
Hunter, youngling, and surprised at the sight of the commanding officer, Cato merely wipes off his knives and gets to his feet.
10 hut!
What?
The action or...
Gita, Hunter, and Young all throw salutes. Amber still, however, is sitting in the corner with a book.
Corporal Whalen?
This one has rabbits in it. You guys supposed to be like...
Yeah, you're supposed to be all peppy and happy. Wait, can we do that line one more time?
This book has rabbits in it.
Sorry, Jen. That was wonderful. Okay, continue. Steve, that was good. Kat, that was good. I have no comments for Jen because
What about you, Mike?
you need to be more stoic and more like.
Alright.
Like that.
Because like of all the characters, you're supposed to be the one who's like.
Not a dumbass.
Right. Thank you.
Don't worry, Young. The sergeant's just jealous of my package. I mean, why else would he have all those knives if he wasn't trying to compensate for something, huh?
I'm about 2 seconds away from skinning your ass.
Oh my goodness. You sit up.
Just so good like that. Oh my goodness.
We're gonna do this. I'm gonna read descriptions. Ready, steady, go. Carrie, Gata, Hunter, Young, and Amber all enter the hangar, each suited up in full combat gear. Amber still clutches the Velveteen Rabbit.
This is gonna blow.
Get it. Say that more low.
Get it. I'm not a happy
More, no, like, because then you're growling, so you're just going like, can it.
Can it.
You're really sick of him.
Can it. I should probably elbow him in the mask. Can it.
I wasn't aware that another squad was accompanying us.
A little gift from Mr. Damani, sweetheart.
The group of mercs is supposed to be your presents.
That's right, twat waffles.
Would you like some syrup?
Please no.
That's the water. Okay, let's go. Let's continue.
Why don't you boys do yourself a favor and go home?
What's the matter? Afraid the job might actually get done?
No.
Again, think very carefully before you answer any questions.
No. Just afraid I might have to explain to your mama how your head got blown off.
Carrie looks as if she's about to inquire further when a ringing noise emanates from her fatigues. She quickly reaches down and produces her cell phone.
Stuck up, snotty, social.
Yeah, we're going to have to work on that.
That's
a lot of S's.
Snobby socialite. His name is mine.
Stupid, stuck up, snotty, social, and sell seashores.
Hello? Daddy, I thought I told you not to call me when I'm on the job. I most certainly did not tell you to. I can't help it that you miss me. You're just going to have to be a good boy and wait. That is weird. Love that Darren speak his name.
Don't do something stupid, Carrie.
Be more like, don't do something stupid, Carrie.
Don't do something stupid, Carrie.
Shut up, Miles.
I'm just trying to prevent you from getting killed.
I can't take it seriously when you're spraying.
This is blind fire.
By the way, you have a pistol.
Alright, okay.
Now you're just playing Duck Hunt.
What are we supposed to be shooting
Platinum, you just got to focus on being more bitter and assertive. And Kat, you're fantastic. So
at? She's fantastic.
she is fantastic.
She's a princess.
She is a princess. Platinum, I'm sorry I didn't cast you as a part of the princess, but
I never get to be the princess.
Well,
I'm bitter.
you can pretend William was a princess in Crockland.
That's true. I'm still bitter.
good. Keep that bitterness with you. And then when you whip yourself in the closet, it'll just fester. So finally, when you play your character, it'll just come off as this bitter, angry old. Like, think about the guy who has the kids step on his lawn every day, and he wants to beat them. It's against the law. He just dwells on that every single day. So finally, he beats his wife, because apparently that's not always against the law.
Was this a guy in your neighborhood?
You were the wife, weren't you?
You still. So, I hope you enjoyed that.
Can we watch it again?
No. Sure. You really want to?
Well, they can just rewind and watch it again if they need to.
Okay. If you really want. As I said, next week we're going to be doing The Giant Claw, which is definitely a review you're not going to want to miss, because how would you ever want to miss... How could you miss a bird the size of a battleship? I mean, you just can't. Oh my goodness, that film is fantastic. Anyway, so you're definitely not going to want to miss that review, and we're going to show the behind-the-scenes footage for the very first...
It was the first day of shooting.
First day of shooting. So we'll talk about that more next time.
And hopefully we'll have other interesting stuff too, because we didn't really have a lot prepared for today.
No. So we hope to see you then. Have a great night. Take care. And enjoy yourself.
And TauProductions.com.
TauProductions.com.
Currently under reconstruction by our good friend Chris Putnam.
That's right, our shameless plug.